Hello world, hello Australia. It's Jamie Burke here, the Crypto Koala. Now today, guys, I've got the co-founder of TeleX AI, and he's the lead director of Crypto Brokers OU. His name's Nathan Sharp. Great to have you on the day, Nathan.
Hi, Jamie. It's a pleasure to be here today on the show, and I'm really excited to be here to talk about TeleX for a little bit.
Awesome, Nathan. So Nathan's going to give us a good demonstration of what they're working on later on. So Nathan, we'll jump into it, eh? Tell us a bit about yourself and your core team, mate.
Sure. So if we're talking about me, we can go back to high school because that's probably the most influential tech time for me. I started off, with like an obsession for computers, and I've always loved, video games, monkeying around with like basic code, trying to make stuff work that doesn't work. And eventually I came across blockchain, and I thought this is the coolest thing ever. It's like immutable, and it's kind of like forever, so it's always there. I kind of realized when it was going to be one of those forever things that I absolutely wanted to be a part of this ecosystem as a contributor, and kind of being there to help create standards and show people their different ways to kind of go about achieving a particular goal. And so, I began investing about 5 years ago, but watching the scene from 6 years ago. And about three and a quarter, I invested into this ICO called Waves platform. That was one of the first opportunities I had at being like a real contributor. So one of the things I'm known for over at Waves was I founded one of the largest staking leased nodes on the network at the time, and that was called Fountain Perpetua. Most people took a fee from the leasing because it's provided as a service. Obviously, there's a distribution of funds that occurs and stuff like that. And so one of the things that I focused on was giving back to the community. So, out of the profits that were from my own personal staked revenue, I donated, 50% of that. Also, the other co-founder, Spheris, he did similarly. And we basically donated to a faucet that we called Fountain Perpetua. And so, that helped a lot of new users get to the platform, and it was, I felt like it was a really good way to be involved and stay involved. As I continued to contribute, I met, one of my co-founders, Kaan Soysal, and, he's from Turkey. And one of the interesting things he had at the time was this project called BitCapital. And basically it was a Bitcoin exchange for Turkish lira to Bitcoin that existed within Turkey. That was the first project I began working on him with. And, he brought some very exceptional ideas to the table. We participated and tried to, be a part of that ecosystem over there. And, we had a lot of business experiences together, and ultimately TeleX AI came as a distillation of a larger idea that we had that we're going to try and build up in reverse. So piece by piece, we'll put together a larger framework and then kind of have that as our completed product. Vaughn, he joined into, our TeleX AI initiative, and he's been with us ever since. He's a very, very sharp marketing guy, and really I couldn't have gotten as far as I have without each of their unique contributions to the team that we have.
Oh, great stuff. It sounds really interesting background you got there, Nathan. And I mean, just the fact that with Turkey there, you mentioned getting some involvement there with the exchange. And it's interesting that Turkey's really big in crypto. It seems like, there's actually a fair bit of adoption happening there, and it's actually quite a bit of, quite a few users in Turkey, hey?
Yeah, there are quite a few users in Turkey and quite a few users in the Middle East. Their crypto usage it's very high across the world as it stands right now, and it's only increasing by the day is how I kind of look at it.
Yeah, definitely, man. So Just going to like the crypto brokers OU. So it's a registered company. So the company, you know, you recently obtained the bit license. So what does that allow you guys to do?
So fundamentally, the European bit license, or in our specific case, the exchange and custodial wallet licenses we got through Estonia. They provide us to fundamentally operate as like an actual legal cryptocurrency exchange solution and provide licensed financial services to users, such as our custodial wallet that is one of the parts of TeleX that kind of makes it its most convenient, basically.
So you find that, you know, you with that license you're quite compliant, and you know you are a registered company in that sense. So that's what you're ultimately trying to achieve, is to be compliant.
Yeah, and so, with all the projects I've done in the past, one of my primary focuses was always being regulatory compliant out the door. Because lots of people are going to go and build their project and say it's better to ask for forgiveness later. But I would rather not ask for forgiveness at all. I would rather work inside of, guidelines and frameworks that are made available. And so, with the question of, where is Crypto Brokers Incorporated? It used to be that, it was TeleX AI Limited of London, and we had done our fundraising, and we ultimately were looking for a place that was willing to affordably license us. And Estonia basically popped up and said, hey, we have a very affordable package for startups if you'd like to come and talk to us. And so we pursued that avenue and got licensed.
Oh, wonderful. So Nathan, we're going to TeleX, and the best way to demonstrate that, I guess, is through your testnet bot. Now, I know the team sent over a demo a few weeks ago, and I've had a play of it myself, and it looked really interesting, the concept and the idea that you've got. So take it away there, Nathan, and just maybe give us a rundown on what the actual TeleX bot is all about and what you guys have been working on. Okay, Nathan, so I guess just when I initially got started with this and I got set up, that I had to register a few details, and just with my phone number as well. And I understand the reason for that is to be compliant for KYC. Is that right?
Yeah, so initially with TeleX, the first layer KYC attempt that we had for our service layer was to collect phone numbers. And basically that was one of the ways that, we were able to set up restrictions for US customers because we don't service the US. So that's a very easy one to catch, is just by telephone number code. From there, we basically use that to, set up the initial logic line for us for our final KYC solution, which is actually Telegram Passport. And that'll be used for our mainnet implementation. So we collect that information so that we can remain regulatory compliant and also secure and know that a user is who they say they are when they register to use our services.
Great stuff, Nathan. We'll take it away, mate, and then we just have a see what you've got here.
Sure. So basically, this is the main panel for TeleX, and it's going to be displayed this way across all platforms that you're using it on, whether that is Telegram or, Facebook Messenger, for example. We're able to service all these different platforms and maintain the same appearance. So basically from here, we have some demo funds. I'm going to show you guys exactly how easy it is to actually buy Bitcoin with TeleX. It's as simple as clicking buy Bitcoin. It's then going to ask you if you'd like to basically market buy, and you can say, no, I'd like to buy less if you'd like to buy less. And then you essentially type in what you want to buy. So I'd say $250 worth, and it'll be able to interpret that I want to get 250 USD worth. Obviously, since it's a testnet demo, we've used USD, but it'll be Euro as default. So you just click yes, shows you a payment receipt, and then it throws you back to the dashboard. And from here, you can see that I now have 0.023 BTC. So if I wanted to do, Ethereum, I would do the same. I would tell it, no, I want to buy less. And then from there, I'd say like 5. And then just for clarifications, I'll do F to show that it can interpret that. And then, you click yes. It goes, okay, great. Here's your receipt, and you're all done. And then, we have another submenu for the other altcoins that we have. And we're going to be adding more pairs through the contest mode. And we'll obviously have a large library of things that you can get when it's a mainnet product, because we're functioning as a straight through processing agent. So that means, whatever exchanges we connect our backend to, you'll be able to exchange from. So that's kind of the vision for TeleX, is having, access for everyone to get whatever they're really looking to get with the highest level of ease of access.
So I guess at the moment it's at demo stage, and anyone can really have a play of this now if they wanted to by request.
So by request, you can get access, but by the end of the month, so we'll say on the 29th, we're going to be ideally pushing out our contest to promotional level. So, that is kind of the ultimate goal, but the demo will always be available for users to essentially utilize. I'll exchange the link with you so you can host it for people. And, even if you're outside the US, once we do go mainnet, you'll still be able to access the demo for test purposes, because we do plan to expand to the US market at some point. Obviously, we need to become operational first, but we're about under a month away from that at this point. So it's well within our plan.
Great stuff, Nathan. Well, thank you for giving the demonstration, and I will put the link down below, guys, if you want to have a look for yourself. So where do you see this being mainly used adoption-wise? What sort of areas do you reckon, what countries do you reckon that would onboard this or use this?
So at the moment, our target market is basically everyone who's kind of looking for convenience, because, with your traditional exchange experience, you still have to have some level of knowledge for understanding trading, moving funds, so ownership of funds, management of private keys, stuff like that. And so we're targeting everyone that doesn't have time to learn, doesn't care to learn, everyone we can reach through Facebook marketing. And, also we're targeting, smaller countries where people are primarily using their phones to do everything. So that way they don't have to leave their phone's ecosystem essentially to play around with the software, benefit from crypto usage, actually see like a real life change from the ease of convenience that, TeleX should bring to people.
Sure, I can definitely see it in developing countries. You look at Argentina, Venezuela. You look at the African countries having this ability to easily be able to on your phone just trade coins. They don't have to be an expert. You didn't have to go and work out what the best pairs are or where to sort of judge where the dips are or anything like that. You can just simple and easy way to go on, use Telegram, and a lot of people in the world, there's a lot of familiarity with Telegram and how to use it. So I guess what you're planning on doing is just making it easier, making it easier for the everyday person.
Yeah, well, one of my favorite quotes by, Steve Jobs is, it's along the lines of like, how can we make it less clicks to do whatever you're trying to do? And that's the approach that I'm trying to take very much with TeleX, is how do I shorten people's time to interfacing with crypto? By putting it inside of a messenger that most people already use. And if they don't use that, they use WhatsApp, which is another platform we can very easily, bridge ourselves onto. So I thought that was, a really great way to get users, is by picking a very busy and active platform.
So have you guys got an actual plan in place to onboard, like say, your retail users and all them users? Have you got like a sort of a strategy or plan in place to get them on board?
So at the moment, we have come up with plan that is, modeled after my original plan, which was basically to have user engagement, because that's the only way that a product is going to gain adoption, is by people actually using it. So we do have a very detailed marketing plan and strategy, but at the moment, what I can kind of outline is that, we reached out to a very successful growth hacker who has a very large community of, people who completed bounties for a lot of his campaigns previously. And we've also reached out to a bunch of media sources inside the crypto space that, we were familiar with back when the startup was, originally created, and some newer media sources as well. We're also going to be implementing this bounty system. So we're going to be running the contests, rewarding users for engagement, rewarding users for contributing feedback. Having regular votes where users talk about proposed features they want to have, features they think need to be changed, and we're there. We're trying to be engaged with them and hear out their needs. And we're also focusing on using a lot of basically cross promotion. So as an exchange, one of the benefits is when we list a community, we gain those users who trade that token. And so ultimately, we're going to be taking our time and, adding the most active communities, the communities where we can pull some engagement from, and, doing our best to continue rewarding these people.
So I guess the reward, the ability to reward, or the token that allows reward, is the TLX token. So could you give us some of the use cases for the TLX token, like the actual incentive to use the pure utility?
So essentially, one of the things with our utility coin is that direct use is going to be inside the app. So it functions as fuel. So obviously, if you want to complete operations within TeleX, you're going to need some TeleX. If you're looking to complete an exchange, everything in the background is done with TeleX. So if you don't have TeleX, you're going to need some to pay for fees. So that's going to be cut out of the transaction. And then we also are going to be providing a set of new service layers to the platform as we move forward. So one of the things I wanted to introduce was a way for users to become better traders. Not just use the app, but to learn from the app, to become experienced through the app. And so, one of the ways that we're basically going to do that is I have a service I'm going to be introducing called Inner Insight, which is a slated roadmap feature for our upgrade. But basically, it allows you to have access to machine learned sentiment data from users. And that basically allows people to kind of see, live sentiment of where people think the market's going versus what the response is. And we will basically provide that at like a monthly fee, basically, like, I don't know, 5 or 10 telex, a month. I'm not sure exactly, but basically it'll be justifiable, and it'll be a great value proposition for users that don't really understand anything about trading.
Sure, it's a tool there. It's something that when I look at projects, similar projects like Sentiment or Syndicator, or something that it's got that AI element or potentially input from human intelligence as well, like wisdom of the crowd. So I guess that really does assist, especially with new traders coming into the space. It's that collaborative data can assist, your trading. So you guys initially built on Ethereum, and your token was originally ERC20. Like, did you find that they were the best fit for you guys, or?
So it's complicated. We very much liked Ethereum because it had a wonderful community, although we weren't engaged very highly by them. What we did find was it was a great prototyping bed for our software. It allowed us to create some very, what I think are innovational things, so like one of the things that I really liked was our custodial model, and that was another use for the TLX token. And basically the custodial model allows us to freeze wallets basically in case of like a regulatory compliant issue that happens, right? So if, you know, a government or a governing body comes to us and says, you need to freeze that wallet for investigation purposes, or someone says, hey, I got hacked, you know, I'm worried I can't access my phone, can you lock my account? We can go in and we can freeze access for that particular wallet to access the contract, which essentially makes it so if there is a hacking, tokens can't be moved, or if tokens have been moved, we can stop them, basically. And so for a user to, for example, withdraw Bitcoin, right, they have to actually execute a transaction and submit a small amount of TLX for that operation. And so if they've been blacklisted, or, you know, in this case, frozen, they wouldn't be able to take that stolen Bitcoin because they wouldn't be able to execute with the contract. So, you know, that was one of the ways that I felt like, you know, it was a good fit for us, was it allowed us a lot of flexibility at the code level to kind of create, you know, newer systems that we hadn't seen to this point. So, you know, it provided us a really good demo, and from where we're at, we can port that code to another blockchain. And, you know, as I'm sure you know, there are blockchains that do have Solidity compatible contracts. So we could technically go wherever, you know, it's best fit for us in terms of scaling, because obviously the scaling is going to affect fees and operational costs.
So I know recently you partnered with the Turtle Network. So what does that mean for TeleX? Moving over from Ethereum with Solidity, do you find that's easy to sort of move over? And I understand that Turtle Network is sort of linked up with Waves as well. So that transition over, with that, is that okay with you guys? You know, that, what does that mean? That partnership mean for you guys?
So initially the partnership means that we are going to be able to offload some of our data storage requirements. So when I look at blockchains, essentially, you know, I'm looking at what is their utility to a business, right? And so, you know, off the bat, one of the things that's, you know, great about Turtle and Waves is that they're both running on Bitcoin NG for their consensus mechanism, which is ironclad, tested, and, you know, verifiably good consensus mechanism. And it's also incredibly cheap. And so when you think about blockchain, obviously a lot of people think about all the hype words and all the fun topical applications, but no one really looks at it for what it was designed as. Essentially, it's just a distributed ledger. So it's meant to hold data forever and immutably. And so basically I wanted to do, you know, a proof of storage concept basically with TeleX and be the first level of our interoperability between chains. And so for every transaction or for all customer data information, we're going to use a proprietary encryption algorithm to hash that information and store it on the blockchain. So we can basically cut out storage costs with, you know, data for long-term stuff. And also, you know, utilize a blockchain for what it was made to do, which is store information. So, you know, that's kind of the first approach with the partnership, is just kind of finding a scalable blockchain that I can trust, and that I know I can remit data onto in an effective, quick, and cheap manner.
So where are you guys at development wise? You know, since your ICO back in 2017 December, you know, do you guys have the funds left? Like, do you feel you can continue development in the future? Because you've been through that whole bear market, so just like to see your thoughts on that.
So if I'm just being totally transparent, which is the whole motto of our company and how we've approached all of our, you know, auditing related stuff, we've always had quarterly reports and came out and published as much financial information as we could. The community would that's been following us would be aware that, you know, we had raised 140k euro in our original ICO. That became devalued pretty quickly before we sold it. I believe somewhere between 100 and 110,000 euros. We basically took all that and we spent all of it on development. We did not focus on marketing, and we focused on, you know, the actual MVP prototype and licensing, essentially. So we ran out of money just as we got licensed, and so we applied to Bank to the Future. At which point we are approved to raise money with Bank to the Future. They just put us on the shelf because we were not high priority enough. So, you know, we had applied for outside funding and tried to do that, but I basically turned my portfolio into the company's bankroll so that I could see it be successful. So at the moment, you know, the company's fine in terms of development costs and development fees. We also have the partnership with the Broker Labs, who's been able to locate us interns and locate us resources for affordable rates, so that we can continue essentially operating out of pocket for the time being. You know, it's our goal to get TeleX to mainnet as soon as possible. We're shooting for a launch of next month sometime for that.
Great.
And that would allow us to be generating profits and, you know, cut back the need for us to raise as much funding as we'd like to pursue.
So Nathan, what's the next 24 months look like for the team beyond the mainnet? So you've got the mainnet released. You've mentioned that you're going to have some AI features in the trading features in your AI bot, if I got that right. What other stuff are you looking at maybe building long term with TeleX AI?
So when it comes to long term, we're talking about probably the thing I'm excited most for with TeleX is the future of TeleX. As it stands, I'm sure everyone in the audience is probably thinking, oh, very cool, a trading bot. It's very accessible. That's awesome. That's fantastic. You know, I am planning to take TeleX Enterprise if it's possible, and I know it's possible. So what I'm going to be pushing is a brand new roadmap, which is going to be coming soon in the near future after we've gotten TeleX to mainnet. But essentially, I have an enterprise software solution suite that basically is called TeleX Pro. TeleX Pro is a unified experience that is a standalone application for desktop, mobile, and you know, Mac, Android. Like it's cross-compatible across all the platforms. And basically, it's going to be your entire center for digital finance and legacy finance in one home. So essentially, when you open it up, there are going to be 5 pages, nothing more than that. And the first page will basically be tied to all your banks through API, to your mortgage accounts through API, to your crypto accounts, and it'll basically give you an entire, you know, breakup of everything you have, including like non-fungible tokens, collectibles, digital deeds, right? And you'd be able to then go list that deed, whether it be a house or a car, on our, you know, marketplace, which will be connected to various service providers. Basically, one of my big things is having a giant Rolodex of strategic partners, because, you know, that allows me to offer more services than I could independently. And so, you know, over the next 24 months, really, I'd like to get TeleX Pro within the first 12 of those to like a completed stage, a 1.0 release candidate level. And I absolutely think that's feasible. Second to that, I began to branch out some of the future operation for TeleX. And the one thing that I can kind of hint and tease at is that if you guys like games, you know, think of like Tron and some of their hottest, you know, DApp games. TeleX is going to be publishing a lot of blockchain-based gaming as well. And eventually you'll be able to tie that all to the TeleX and TeleX Pro application. So really, I'm very excited for what's to come, and I'm excited to be able to share with you guys.
Wonderful. I guess that gaming space is something that for blockchain gaming is really big, and I think it's going to be a really big area that's going to onboard adoption So I guess in summary, you know, what's going to make TeleX AI life, like, make it easier for the everyday person?
So the key thing that's going to make TeleX the most easy to use, the original MVP model we have, and for all future revisions, is we have Siri and Alexa integrations that we're working on. So I may have gotten the second virtual assistant name incorrect, but basically you'll be able to yell at your virtual assistant like, hey, TeleX, I want to sell 5 BTC. And TeleX will hear you, it'll post the transaction, and it'll bring you to the confirmation screen, all from the voice access button. Basically.
Okay, yes, very cool. Great stuff, Nathan. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, mate. I'll just give a quick disclaimer like I do in all my videos. I'm not encouraging you, I'm not saying get involved in this project or buy their tokens. Do your own research and do your own due diligence. I like this project, it's something that I'm interested in, guys, but of course, you know, check it out for yourselves. I'll put the links down below if you want to check out Nathan, if you want to check out the TeleX AI project, and if you want to give that demo a go. So thank you, Nathan, and thanks for your time, mate, and you have a wonderful day.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on today, Jamie. And yeah, just to all the viewers, if you have 5 minutes to go play with my software, I really can't encourage you enough. You'll be an early entrant to our contest mode, so you'll know when we launch the official contest. And you'll also get to, you know, have your own little trial run with what I think is probably the easiest crypto exchange solution at the moment. Obviously, I can be wrong, but you guys, why don't you test and, you know, find out for yourself and leave some feedback through the application, which we've provided the ability to do.
Great stuff. All right, Nathan, you have a good day, mate. I'll see you later, hey?
Take it easy.
See
Thank
you,
you
mate.
so much.
Bye.